Good morning, firstly.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Could you just introduce yourself, just in case our followers don't know who you are, which would be weird?
We're really having a nice weird morning, aren't we?
We are.
My name is Lebo Hamurake, born Lebo Hamurake, Lebo M, also known as the voice and spirit of the Lion King.
Okay, cool. You worked with Walt Disney in '94,
Yeah.
and then again now. From your experience in '94 to the experience now, how has it differed? What has changed? Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, when we first did The Lion King in 1994, I think I started working on this movie in 1992, 91, 92.
Okay.
So it's about 2.5 years before its release in 1994. Most people don't know that it was a project nobody wanted to do at Disney. And I did it as a demo initially and I came to South Africa. So it was not, it's a project that became a global phenomenon behind, I think a movie that everybody wanted to do at that time was Pocahontas. Pocahontas is something else. It was more your glamour. Most people looked at the Lion King movie at that time as we're going to do a National Geographic thing. Until apparently when we came in, the music department came in and we did what we did, and it slowly became this huge project. So that the difference with 25 years ago and now is that it was organic. You know, even the way I did it was very organic, it was not planned, and it was inspired by the spirit of the moment. Now, 25 years later, it was a lot more stressful, especially to me and especially to us, the creative team, because you are having to do a project that has captured the hearts and minds of people around the world, literally. And it never left. From the moment most people heard, 25 years ago, it never left an entire generation. So you can't fuck that shit up. You literally can't. So the stress walking into the project now would have taken a director like Jon Favreau, who was the opposite of, for example, when I walked in the first director meeting, I was not sleeping for 3 days basically because I had no clue what the direction of the movie would be. So Jon Favreau as a director became the calming factor, you know. He had the right medication to calm us down. But that's because he's new in the project. We're coming in with a continuation. I had never stopped doing the Lion King. I've been on the Broadway circuit for the last 23 years. I was a cast member in the original Lion King. I produced the Lion King South Africa. From here I'm going to the international tour of the Lion King. After the premiere in London, I was in the Lion King production in the morning in Bristol. So I know the journey of this project from day one and for the last 25 years. And the greatest surprise for me was realizing that the live action Lion King is actually a continuation, and is the bigger side of it is we're able to expand and stretch the envelope a little bit more, because John's approach in storytelling was actually brilliant, which I really still can't figure out how he was able to conceptualize the storyline and take the movie to the next level. The technology, the animation is out of this world, which was my second worry when I first saw the first couple of clips, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Most of us hadn't seen the clips until shortly before the first preview. I had seen bits and bits of the drawings. When I saw the clips, I was like, whoa, how the hell are they going to do this? But fortunately, it all came together when we started. I've been working on music for this for about 1.5 years. But we really started merging the music and the film around February this year, which has been a 24-hour non-stop. And it's high-paced energy that was very exciting because you see it come together.
Okay. you've composed, arranged, performed, and produced a lot of music in your time. What got you into music exactly?
I was born and brought up in Soweto, Kotladi. I grew up in a very musical family. My mother and my father, but particularly my father. There's no new album that my father, probably he must have had a deal with somebody. My father came home, if we were to starve, we'll starve because he decided to buy 5 albums of the latest jazz and local music. So I grew up in a music inspired family. The life in the streets was different for us then. I'm a product of the apartheid era. I was born into apartheid, and all I knew then was the township. Very few of us knew that there's life outside the township. Most people are still surprised that when I first came home, I only knew Elof Street when I left South Africa. At age 16 in 1979, I had no clue that there's something called Rosebank or Sentin or any of that stuff. That's because growing up in South Africa at that time, you had very few options as a young black kid. School was interrupted, or the political environment was not conducive to being consistent in going to school. So you had a couple of options. Boxing. I was horrible. I lasted maybe 23 seconds, if that long. Soccer, I just was never inspired with soccer. And then I discovered something where the girls are, where the girls were hanging out the most is in the youth club. And boom, I became a ballroom dancer. And that, the combination of growing up in the township is you're either going to be the coolest guy with the girls, or you're going to be politically inclined, or you're going to play soccer. And I'm one of the very rare township boys that don't know nothing about soccer because I ended up being a youth club kid in ballroom dance, and because it has music. And then I ended up being the youngest nightclub singer then. At age 14, I stumbled into a gig at the Pelican. The Pelican in Orlando was the club. It was the institution where musicians from all over the country, basically, if you didn't play the Pelican, you were nobody. Because I come from an era of bands, where bands were very competitive with local music and international music. So music, long before I left for exile at age 16, music has always been the tie that binds it all, the guiding inspiration for me to want to be somebody.
Okay. I know that a lot of people are excited about the soundtrack because Beyonce is on it. What are your thoughts on Beyonce being on the soundtrack and the vibe she's given to Lion King now?
I think what most people are going to be surprised by, other than the fact that we know Beyonce obviously as a singer and a great, probably great talent, is her performance for the character Nala. The brilliance in her delivering Nala, for me, being inside, is the story. The song Spirit, obviously, is a great song. I worked in it for the movie. The song, I think, will come and go, but her performance as Nala will outlive the music, the song. That I think is the biggest surprise for me, and I imagine will be the biggest surprise for people around the world, because her performance as Nala is absolutely, she took it to the next level. She personalized the character to the next level, which is the most important thing in the Lion King environment, is what do you bring to the project other than what we do outside, as in I can go do a live concert, I can release a Lebo M inspired album, which I'm working on now, but ultimately, what do you bring to the Lion King story? And what she delivers as Nala, and her chemistry with Donald is like, it's almost like the in the song Can You Feel the Love, which was my biggest worry, because I've been living with the Can You Feel the Love Tonight duet on Broadway productions around the world, and it's the most difficult blend to create. the chemistry of Can You Feel the Love Tonight between Beyonce and Donald, which is what I mean when I say, what do you bring to the story that's separate from a new song called Spirit, that is new and fresh to the story, complements the story. So the power of Beyonce being with the Lion King is inherent in her performance as Nala, her performance of the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight. Then the cherry on top is Spirit for me. It's the other way around.
Okay. Going back to South Africa music and film, how do you think we've evolved in the industry from 94 to where we are now?
I haven't been home around long enough to have any strong opinion about the evolution of the film industry.
Okay.
But I do have a sense of what it is or what it should be. And it's not limited to talent. I think South Africa in general, whether it's technical talent or talent on stage, we are comparable to the best in the world. We have the best talent actually from all communities. That I think is a given. I call it a given. And then the biggest problem that I see, at least from a distance, but also from having a good sense of interacting with people, is we don't have a clearly defined business mind, business South Africa, and the political environment is not conducive for growth because I think the evolution of our new democracy in country made a huge mistake in underestimating and undermines the value of arts and culture generally for a country. So when budgets are being put together for mining, for all this other dumb shit, nobody is realizing the economic value of arts and culture in this entertainment industry, which around the world, America alone, look at it this way. There's a property called The Lion King, which is American owned. It's owned by Disney. And it's an African inspired. It's about Africa.
Sure.
And 25 years ago, let me talk about the broader production. Yeah, Disney invested no less than $25 million to mount the first Lion King production. Yeah. Now, imagine yourself, black, white, Indian, or any color you are, wherever you come from in South Africa, walking into anybody's arts and culture office or business saying, I want $5 million to mount a new production. They look at you like an idiot, but you walk in and say, I want $5 million to build new hotels or to build new road infrastructure. You get $200 million. But the business side of it is the return on investment. Most of the time you don't even see. So I think it's the cultural mindset of the political environment and business that needs to evolve with the creative. They're far behind. The creative sector, the talent is 10 years ahead of the business environment and the political environment that should create a conducive environment to flourish and be globally competitive.
Okay, and then just two more questions. Your top 5 African artists right now.
Yo, that's a hard one. You know why that's a hard one?
Why?
I work differently. I've been on the Lion King for a year and a half. I don't listen to radio. I don't listen to anything for a year and a half. So I'm clueless what's out there until this project that we start doing. And I saw a little bit, for example, of. I'm a huge fan of showman shows.
Oh.
I'm a huge fan of AKA and Casper. I'm a huge fan of Davide. Yeah, so I've just I'm coming out of my Lion King little corner.
Okay.
Yeah, but again with music and African artists, in fact, over and above South African artists are doing amazing work. Just looking at statistics and following stories. But African governments and African business are 25 years behind realizing the value of investing quality money to make quality money in the arts and culture sector.
And last question, are you excited about tonight, the premiere?
No, somebody asked me, am I excited about tonight?
That was actually
That was
me.
you, huh?
Yes.
And I looked at my guy and said, hey, what's happening tonight? And I was being real. I am beyond excited. I just